Welcome to this explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're joining us today because we're jumping right into something incredibly practical. We are going to properly audit small retail shop solar loads, and trust me, doing this right avoids some seriously costly mistakes. If you've ever found yourself scratching your head, wondering why a solar setup failed or just drastically underperformed, well, you are in exactly the right place.
Okay, let's dive right into this. I want you to picture your own setup for a second. Maybe it's a bustling little kiosk, a local pharmacy, or just a neighborhood boutique. Now, ask yourself, how much power does your shop really use? Most people think they know, right? They just look at the back of their devices, read the little stickers, and add the numbers up. But I'm going to challenge that assumption today, because what you think you're using and what your system actually demands, well, they can be two completely different things.
You know, it's incredibly common to just read the printed sticker on an appliance and call it a day. You might assume your POS machine is pulling a simple 10 watts, or that a standing fan is exactly 60 watts. But the reality? It's a whole different story. Equipment actually uses varying amounts of power depending on things like startup currents, continuous running efficiency, and even standby consumption. That printed label is just a snapshot, and it rarely tells you the full story of your actual power consumption over a long, busy workday.
Which brings us to Section 1, the danger of guessing.
When we just guess our loads instead of measuring them directly, we aren't just making a tiny math error. We're literally setting ourselves up for poorly sized solar systems and creating very real, dangerous safety gaps. Seriously, take a second and mentally picture the extension cord in your own shop right now. Are you overloading a single, cheap extension box with a fan, a bunch of phone chargers, your POS terminal, LED lights, and maybe even a small TV? When we guess appliance loads, human nature means we almost always underestimate. And that underestimation leads straight to overloading. Those loose connections and overloaded cables can quickly overheat, turning an innocent little extension box into a massive fire hazard.
So let's get into Section 2, the retail shop audit. So how do we actually fix this? Well, I want you to conceptually walk into the shop with me. Let's move to the outlets and see how this builds. Step 1. We plug a watt meter directly into the wall socket. This brilliant little device tells us exactly how much power is actually being pulled from the AC outlet. No more guessing. Step 2. We connect the POS terminal. Step 3. We add the LED bulbs. And finally, Step 4. We plug in the standing fan.
First up is the POS terminal. Now this little guy seems completely innocent, right? It only draws a tiny amount of power. But here's the catch. It runs all day long. Its continuous standby nature creates a steady, relentless energy consumption that serves as an absolutely crucial baseline measurement for our daily audit. Next, we add in our LED bulbs. And yes, LED lighting is incredibly efficient, but beware the multiplier effect. Small loads absolutely add together over time. Having 3 or 4 of these bulbs operating at the same time for 10 or 12 hours a day is going to deeply impact your daily watt-hour calculation. Sure, they might only be 8 or 10 watts each, but when you add them all together and run them all day, they matter significantly.
And then we plug in the standing fan. This is the heavy hitter, the secret energy vampire of the small shop. And this brilliantly illustrates why you can't just trust the label. Because fans run for hours on end, they contribute way more to your total energy consumption than their printed power rating might suggest. They will drain those batteries far faster than people expect.
Moving right along to Section 3, Solar Math Made Simple. Now that we've got our real-world measurements, we need to make sense of them mathematically. But don't worry, we're keeping this grounded in the real world. Think of this table as your shop's ultimate cheat sheet. To find power, you just multiply your voltage by your current. So a standard 230 volts times 0.26 amps gives us about 60 watts. Simple enough. To figure out energy, we just add time into the mix. If those appliances pull 80 watts for 10 hours, you've consumed 800 watt-hours of energy. And finally, our total load is simply the sum of our measured gear. Our 8-watt POS plus a 10-watt router, 24 watts of LEDs, and that 55-watt standing fan.
Let's just pause on that last term for a second. Total load is defined as the combined power consumption of all simultaneous appliances that the inverter sees continuously. It is absolutely vital you grasp this definition because this combined wattage is the baseline for literally everything that follows in our solar design.
So, when we add up that specific retail example from our audit, the POS, the router, the LEDs, and the fan, we get exactly 97 watts. Boom. This single number represents exactly what our inverter must be able to handle continuously in our small shop setup. But listen, sizing the inverter is only half the battle. So many people focus purely on inverter wattage, and that is a massive mistake.
You also need to know your battery current, which is just your AC power divided by your battery voltage. So a 100-watt load on a 12-volt system, that draws 8.3 amps. And for your runtime, we simply divide battery energy by load power, meaning a 1200 watt-hour battery divided by a 100-watt load gives you roughly 12 hours of runtime. Your daily energy usage and your battery capacity are equally critical. An inverter might handle the load just fine, but if you have insufficient battery capacity, your shop's lights are still going to go out.
So the crucial point is that specific metric, 8.3 amps. That's the actual battery current required for a 100-watt load on a 12-volt system. And keep in mind, because all inverters have efficiency losses, your actual current draw from the battery is going to be even higher than that. The rule of thumb is simple. More watts equals more battery current, period.
Let's head into our final segment, Section 4, Avoiding Hidden Safety Risks.
Now that we thoroughly understand the math and the measurements, we really have to talk about what happens when people get this wrong. Because when people just guess their power loads, equipment fails and things get dangerous fast. Those overloaded extension sockets we talked about earlier, they overheat. Undersized, cheap inverters end up frying your electronics because they simply can't handle continuous power spikes. Underestimating your daily demand aggressively shortens the lifespan of those really expensive batteries by forcing deep discharges. And fake appliance ratings, they mislead the entire design from day one. These are severe, incredibly expensive problems, and they're all caused by a simple failure to measure.
Which brings us perfectly to the golden rule of this explainer. Accurate measurements always beat assumptions. It really is as simple as that. A very basic, inexpensive plug-in watt-meter test gives you the hard, undeniable data you need. It prevents oversizing, it prevents undersizing, and it prevents downright dangerous mistakes. You should always start with real measurements to size your inverter, your battery, and your solar panels correctly. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Have you ever actually measured the real power consumption of your shop equipment with a watt meter? I highly encourage you to go get one and audit your own setup. You might be completely surprised by what you find. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning and start measuring.